Need a glass of water nearby today, boy. Man, that workout got me. All right, we ready? Good morning, Southeast Missouri, and wherever you may be listening. This is the Retirement Playbook brought to you by Innovative Financial Solutions. We are the retirement people, and we're here with you every Saturday morning, bringing you some hopefully great information for you to use in your life and ultimately get to and through retirement. And as always, I'm joined by Mr. Tony Shore. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Brock Allspa. Great to be here with you. I'm excited about today's show. I'm coming in a little hot today, aren't I? Coming in
Yep,
hot.
yep.
But it's great to be here, part of the innovative team, Brock Allspa, CRPC. What does CRPC stand for?
Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor. So,
Wow, that's
yep,
quite a
that's from the
designation.
it's from the College of Financial Planning. It's a designation that they award to people that, go through the studies and then you have to do continuing education, just like we do to hold a license. So lots of CE going on in our world, but and that's a good thing, right? And we want to make sure that we're always up to date on rules, regulations, products, all that kind of stuff. So it's a good thing. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for mentioning the CRPC, Tony.
Oh, yes.
All right, folks, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about some financial strategy steps for the fall. And it is fall, Tony. Wake
Yep.
up and it's 50 degrees and you get up to 65 or 70 and then at night you're getting ready to go to bed and it's 50 again. Oh, it's my time of year. It's
Perfect
my
weather.
time of year, Tony.
You and me both. Perfect sleeping weather, right? You can leave the windows open, nice cool breeze. I
You
sleep so well this time of year. I wish it was this way year round, don't you?
Yeah, I do, and I'm sure there's places where it is like this year round. But anyway, it's one of those things where you go, okay, if this could be the weather all year round, there'd be too many people wherever you are
That's
because
true.
everybody would want
That's
to
true.
be there.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So anyway, well, listen, folks. Again, we've got a great show lined up for you today. But before we get into it, I would like for you to do something, help yourself out, and if you could go to our website. It's theinnovativeteam.com. Theinnovativeteam.com. You can you can download past shows specific to what you want to listen to. And of course, you can check that out on Spotify and anywhere you get your podcast as well. Or again, subscribe to our YouTube channel right now if you're watching out there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have it out there. It's available for you to listen to and watch us if you'd like to do that. And then also, you can order my book. It's The Last Paycheck: How to Build Sustainable Retirement Income and Keep Those Paychecks Coming In. That's the goal. That's what everybody wants to do. You can get started today by ordering that book. So lots of great information on our website. It's theinnovativeteam.com. But again, folks, information is only as good as how you use it or if you use it. Okay. So what I would encourage you to do is, yes, check out the website, maybe order the book, but then call us to get a customized plan. That's what's going to help you the most in your life for you and your family. 573-332-7855. Or again, that website is theinnovativeteam.com.
All right. Well, Brock, I'm excited about the show today. Obviously, it's going to be a good one. It's fall. This is the time of year you really need to be taking a look and reviewing your finances, your strategies, your plans, right? Get a second opinion. And, when it comes to having a solid financial strategy, especially for retirement, estate planning, and Medicare are two huge pillars, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're talking about putting together a financial plan, you're talking about income planning, you're talking about estate planning, you're talking about tax planning. These are all things and help, insurance planning, whether it be your Medicare open enrollment right now, which we're in, folks. Again, if you want to make changes, if you're looking at potentially maybe moving your prescription plan to a different plan because maybe your plan doesn't cover some of the drugs that you're now taking, this is the time. You've got until December 7th. Okay, October 15th to December 7th is this open enrollment period. Also, if you're wanting to look at an Advantage plan, maybe an Advantage plan might be right for you. maybe changing your Advantage plan to a different Advantage plan. So there are things you can do right now to make changes to help yourself in 2024, because that's what we're talking about, right? Changing our 2024 plan to something different. This is the window to do it. And as we talked last week, Tony, if you get into a new plan and you realize, you know what, ooh, maybe this isn't right for me, you can still change your mind, but you can only do it during this period of time. So it's a very important period of time. Take advantage of it. Make sure that you have the right your Medicare plan. Okay, so we're going to talk complete entire financial situation, right? We're going to talk about your debt. We want you to make a list of your debt. Be sure to include your account numbers, location of necessary documents, contact information for the banks and companies that hold your debt. Okay. And the reason is because you need to have an inventory of all of these things to help you. And if something were to happen to you, so your beneficiaries have this information as well. The last thing you want to do is get behind on all of that. And if something were to happen, maybe, you get in a car accident, or, we need to make sure that your financial life can continue to move on, even if there's some health issues going on with yourself. So it can be easily forgotten about. But yes, you need to make a list of all of these debts and an inventory of your assets. This is the time of year. Okay. This is the time of year to go, okay, let's get ready for 2024. Let's establish what our goals are. But more importantly, how are we going to get there? And you have to start the foundation. You have to start with knowing where you're at. Okay. How do you know where you're going to go if you don't know where you're at right now? So, taking an inventory, making sure you have all of this organized is the first step. Making sure that you know where everything is, what you're paying, what you're earning on your investments. Are they doing what they're supposed to do on your investment side? So, a true inventory of your whole financial picture is a great place to start. And right now is a great time to do it, folks.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead, Tony.
Well, I was going to say that's also a good step in the right direction for estate planning, to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row in case something, God forbid, should happen to you. You don't want to leave your spouse or your loved ones, your kids or grandkids in a bad situation, right?
100%. And so that's what our clients really like about working with us too, Tony, is that we have the service. It's called a generational vault, and you can store all of these documents. You can store all of this information about your accounts inside the very secure generational vault that allows you to just basically click a few buttons to make sure that where everything is and what you're paying, and basically everything I just talked about. And so it's nice to have that online portal that you can go to, and all of these things are updated on a nightly basis. So you can have 24/7 access to exactly what I just talked about. Now, I realize not everybody has that, but again, that's why we say, hey, take an inventory. This is a great time of year to do that. And so, yes, that would be the first step, is to take an inventory. This is a great time of year to do it, establish those goals. And then again, how are we going to get there? That's the most important thing. Next, putting together a list of all of your various memberships is also a smart move, Tony. You probably belong to groups and organizations like AARP, the American Legion, maybe some professional association, maybe it's Noon Optimist, or whatever it may be. Take an inventory of all these various memberships that you have. Be sure these organizations are noted, because some of them may provide no-cost life insurance. I know, for example, Tony, I'm a member of the Elks here in town, and if you give so much money to help with some of the kids' things that they do, then you can also be eligible for a scholarship for when your kids get older. So there's programs out there. I'm a part of Noon Optimist. When we have someone, a kid or a grandkid, that is going to college, they're eligible for a scholarship. So again, not a reason to you don't want to join these things just for these financial benefits. You want to join these organizations because you believe in what they do and you're going to help them accomplish that. But there's some other ancillary benefits that may come with it. Okay. Let's see here. Next, you'll want to have 3 signed and dated copies of all of your list. That's what this is saying. The original copy should be provided to your estate administrator. So, who's going to administer your estate? Okay. So, in your trust, if you have one, for example, or if you have a power of attorney for financial and healthcare matters, these are things you need to keep copies of to make sure that if something did happen to you, even if you're still alive and you're incapacitated, for example, that you would have these documents readily available to these important people that are going to carry out your wishes. Okay. And so again, the generational vault, Tony, I'll go back to that, is a great place for those kinds of documents because you can always access them, or you can give authority or access to someone else, like your administrator of your estate, and they can log in and see all of these things and make sure that your financial life, whether you're gone or incapacitated, can continue. Okay, so
Well, you don't want to leave your loved ones in a bad situation, right? And that's what this is about. And it's probably good to gather up all your paperwork, these lists, and you have a great tool that people can use, the Generational Vault, which is complimentary for your clients, where they can keep all their accounts. You can look at your active accounts and see where they're at within the vault. You can upload important papers, keep those lists, important lists of passwords. And I know it has encryption, the same level of encryption as banks use. So your information is safe in there. That's key, isn't it?
it is key, Tony. I mean, security of your financial information is as important as it's ever been.
Right.
You hear about the different hacks of different systems and whatnot, and you want to make sure that and we have a whole list of the security aspects of the generational vault. But my point is, whether it's the generational vault or something else that you have access to, just make sure you know about the different levels of security, and that that what you're using is very secure. Now, I'm going to move on to this. It's kind of the same topic, right? As far as keeping these documents for your state administrator and other people that you're going to depend on. One of the things that we do, Tony, with a lot of people, we talk about enhanced planning. That's our version. That's what we call estate planning, essentially. We have lots of tools available for this. We have presentations, but more importantly, what we do is we walk through this step by step with our clients and our prospects that we're working with. And it's a great tool because basically it answers a few questions. Number one is who owns what, right? And you may think, oh, well, that's simple. I know that me and my wife own everything together. Not so fast. And that you might think that you have one estate because you guys are married and you own everything together. Not so fast. You have your own estate. She has her own estate, or vice versa. Okay. So it answers some few questions that are so important. And then the second one is who gets what, right? If you have certain things that need to be done, that certain allocation of assets, for example, that you want to go to one person, a specific person, you need to take care of that through either beneficiary designations or through a will or through a trust. And so, these are things that are so important that, again, if you haven't done this, folks, if you haven't gotten it, answered these questions, if you don't have all of your power of attorneys in place, if you don't have your beneficiary deeds on your home, right now is a great time to get this stuff done. I know we're all busy. We're all busy. I get it. Everybody's busy. But if you don't take just a few minutes out of your life to take care of this can provide tons of hours of headaches and high emotion periods of time, and potentially splitting up families after you're gone. So my point is, don't give me I'm busy, I'm too busy for that. You got to take care of these things, folks.
Yeah, you got to take time to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up some key points there. Beneficiary designations. You've talked to me before about how you'll have somebody come in to get a second opinion on where they're at, and they've never checked their beneficiary designations or evaluated them since setting up their original 401k 20, 30 years ago, or 15 to 30 years ago, and that's not good. You need to check those beneficiary designations because they take precedent over the will, you've always told me.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah. Yep. So, anytime you have a beneficiary or the ability to put a beneficiary designation on an account. For example, your bank accounts, your retirement accounts, your life insurance policies. You've got to make sure, and that's why we, at every annual review that we have with our clients, we always review beneficiary designations to make sure, okay, this is who you have. Is this still who you want it to go to if something were to happen to you? Because the beneficiary designation supersedes anything that you've done. Okay. Wait, I don't care if you have a trust or if you have a will, whatever it is, if the most powerful and most economic estate planning you can do is to make sure you have your beneficiary designations correct and up to date. Um, I've seen it, Tony, and really the most common place that I've seen beneficiaries kind of screwed up is on 401ks
Yep.
because that is something that they're doing at work. And they have to do it on their own, right? Because no HR person is going to go, well, hey, I noticed your beneficiary designation is this. Are you sure? That's not their job. They can't. They don't even know who your beneficiaries are. So it's on you to do that. Again, one of the more important reasons why to work with an advisor, because even if that advisor doesn't manage that asset, they'll help you make sure that all of that's correct. Well, they
Right.
should be anyway. So you're so right, Tony. Beneficiary designations is a huge deal. That was the next point. This is a great time of year to make sure that all of your beneficiaries are up to date, who you want this money to go to. And if you don't have a beneficiary or can't put a beneficiary on an asset, maybe it's something you own and within your home, that's what a will's for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now it's not as efficient as a beneficiary designation or a trust, but at least it tells the courts who gets what.
Right. And but beneficiary designations take precedent over the will, but you still have to have a will. We see it all the time with wealthy people, famous people who pass
Yeah.
and
Yep.
have no wills, and the mess it creates, years and years of infighting between their family and their loved ones. Prince, the artist Prince, is a great example of that. Died without a will. Aretha Franklin. There are many, many examples of
Dale
this.
Earnhardt Jr.,
Yeah,
or
Dale
senior,
Earnhardt.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. And what a
Yeah.
mess. Yeah,
Yeah.
died without a will.
And then the
I
whole
mean,
thing between Junior and the wife, I mean, it was just a
yep,
disaster.
it
I
was a
mean, it
disaster and tore that family apart. You don't
sure
want
did.
that.
No.
You can create family harmony and keep it and really do the best thing for your loved ones by getting an estate plan in place. And a lot of people think, well, I'm not wealthy like Dale Earnhardt. I don't need a
I
will
was
or an estate plan. You still do. Everybody
I
does.
was just getting ready to make that point, Tony. So good job. Yeah, absolutely. So you don't have to have millions or billions of dollars to do estate planning, folks. Everybody has an estate plan. Okay. It's just a matter if you don't actually take control and do your own, the government has a plan for you, right? As far as your assets and where they're going to go. But you have the opportunity to control this. Okay. And I highly encourage everyone to think about their situation. And if you don't need a trust, you may not, but you do need a will. You do need powers of attorneys for healthcare and financial decisions. You do need a beneficiary deed on your home. So even if you don't think you need a state planning, you really do. And everybody has a plan. It's just a matter, are you going to control it or is the government going to control it? And, that's not a good situation for anybody. So there you go. Don't die without a will or some of these other more important documents. So, okay, here we go. So simplifying. Next
Let's
tip. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, let's jump ahead
Yeah.
to talk about Medicare a little bit before we end the show.
Okay.
Because in our last segment here, Medicare is one of the things. I know it's Estate Planning Awareness Month, so we're talking about estate planning. This is a good time of year to review where you're at, like you said, beneficiary designations, but it's also open enrollment period. We're in it right now. That's from October 15th through December 7th, right, Brock?
Absolutely. And so when you're talking about, again, the open enrollment period, you have several different decisions to make or could make during that time. You can trade one Medicare Advantage for another. We've talked about that. Or you can swap your Part D, which is your drug plan. Okay. You can sign up for Medicare Part D prescription plan if you didn't enroll in a plan when you were first eligible for Medicare. Typically, you would do that when you become eligible, which is 65 for most people. Um, but you can, if you didn't enroll in one, and you don't want to get a penalty for not having a plan, then you can do that during open enrollment if you missed your opportunity during your first eligible to do that. So yeah, I mean, this is a great time of year. Even if let's say you have, and we're again talking about just kind of the great time of year to review your financial situation. When even if you have a Medicare supplement, okay, and let's say you're happy with the plan. I mean, let's say you bought a Plan G to supplement A and B from Medicare, okay, because again, Medicare A and B, facilities, coverage. A, B is your doctor's visits, those kinds of things. That's very simple explanation of A and B, but that's essentially what it is. Those things will cover 80% of your healthcare cost. So you need a supplement plan to cover the other 20%, because no one wants to pay 20% of today's medical bills. I mean,
Right.
that's just a
True.
bad idea.
Yeah.
So you get a supplement, or you would replace A and B with one of these Advantage plans, and some of these Advantage plans also come with a prescription plan. So again, I'm not a huge advocate for Advantage plans. I mean, if it works for you, and it's great, okay. But if you can afford to go the traditional route of A and B, and then get that Medicare supplement, that to me is a preferred way to go about it. Now, okay, so you're saying, well, I'm happy with my plan, but this is also a good time of year. Not that open enrollment has anything to do with this, but looking at what it costs, okay, your Medicare supplement. So, and the reason I say that, Tony, is because your Medicare supplement plans. Let's just use an example of Plan G. The Plan G with the company you're with is essentially, they have to provide the same benefits. It's called standardization, and they
Yep.
have to provide the same benefits with another company. So really, what's the difference? It's the cost. It's the
Right.
cost of what that company can provide those benefits to you. So shopping that to make sure that you're paying the right amount and not excessive amounts of premium every month. Whether it's $10 cheaper or $40 cheaper, it's still cheaper. So why not? It doesn't cost you anything. You might, and that's the misperception too. Some people go, well, I'm with Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so I don't want to change because they've been so good to me, and I don't want to change. So people are reluctant to do that. Well, in reality, it's the same, no matter what. And so shopping that, but I also understand your comfort level. So if you decide to be one of those people to stick with a company knowing that you're probably overpaying a little bit, fine. That's your
Yeah.
decision. I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, these plans improve over time and things change with the Medicare system every single year. There are changes and rule changes. So you really do, though, need to review where you're at each and every year, even if you think you're happy and content and getting a great deal, because usually you can find ways to maximize your coverage and minimize your expense, right?
For sure. And I think it's important to work with somebody, right? And so
Well, yeah.
we have an insurance agency here. Jason Lee is the one that specializes in that in our office. I don't handle these myself, but I know about them because it's a good, it's part of your financial strategy. And so I do make sure that I'm up to date and understand, these different plans, because again, it can affect my client's overall financial picture.
Yeah.
So if you have questions about this, or if you need help, call Jason Lee at our office, 573-332-7855. He'll help you get the right plan for you and your spouse.
So Jason Lee is your Medicare specialist, healthcare and health insurance specialist. I think it's important to work with somebody like that during this open enroll period, which is October 15th through December 7th. So we're in it right now. Brock, this has been a great show, but we're out of time. It always
No, come
flies by.
on.
Yeah,
Come
it
on.
always flies by. Give us that phone number and web address in case our listeners want to get a hold of you and set up a consultation.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff today, estate planning and making sure that this is a great time of year to get everything organized and start planning out for 2024. If you need help with that, give us a call, 573-332-7855, or look us up on the web at theinnovativeteam.com.